Hello and welcome. I'm so excited to be back here with you and doing this very special stream where we are gonna look through the pre-release copy of Demigods that I have here. We are gonna skip over there's a special art chapter, a little gallery, if you will, that I'm saving that for the actual release. It's very, very cool. It's all the extra art that we got from stretch goals and stuff, and it's got its own chapter in the book because we arted so hard. It's a lot. I think a lot of people who are here probably know who I am and what this is about. All 8 of you. But if you don't know, maybe you've been here for the video games and you didn't know that I made a tabletop role-playing game, but I did. And also, is my audio coming through a little hot? I can't tell. I got COVID 3 weeks ago, and then I was tired, and then I was busy, and now I'm back. I had the day off school today, and so I was able to catch up on a bunch of things, and then had the idea. It was very disappointing because I had promised the Kickstarter, like, oh, I have a preview PDF for you today, but it turns out that that's not going to work for a bunch of logistic reasons. But I wanted to share it anyway, so here we are. We're going to do it manually. I do make things explode around me. That I'm a grenadier. That is my my operating class. Okay, looks good, sounds good. Everything's checking out. Doing things manually can be fun, right? No judgment here. This is our cover. Oh wait, hang on. Let's make this continuous, but then zoom out a little bit. Look at this. So this cover provided by Minerva. I think she's gonna swing by chat later. I don't see her in chat later yet, but also Kurt Potts is in chat. Kurt, how much are you wanting to answer questions as well, or should I cover for you and say you didn't see it? So this cover by Minerva Fox absolutely blew my mind. It was this was done years ago now, and it's oh, Blue Troller is here. Yay. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so the gang's all here. Let's turn this down a little bit. Apparently I'm like making up for my lack of streaming by just yelling into my microphone. So anyway, this cover, absolutely gorgeous. But hey, we've seen that. Some of the credits here. I did it. I made this game. Cover, interior art, Minerva Fox. The character art, like the art in the quick start, if you go and grab that, is by Emilia Vidal. Now, famous Marvel artist, by the way. If you look up her stuff, she's very, very good, and I knew her before she was famous. Art direction is Adam West, who a lot of you know from the Happy Jacks family. Not Adam West from Batman, but Adam West from my group of friends, and recently married man. Very excited. Oh, and welcome, Carrying Comfort Studios. Lovely to have you in chat. Copy editing, layout, safety tools. Kate Bullock does a lot of work over at Magpie Games, too. Should definitely check out her stuff. Chris Gray did games like Great American Witch, Great American Novel, Happiest Apocalypse on Earth. Tons of good stuff there. These are contributors who either did one of the scenarios in the game or contributed in another meaningful way that is too hard to enumerate here. But anyway, all rights reserved. It's mine, and you can't take it. You can't say it's yours. I mean, I know it'll get PDF'd and passed around. I'm not naive. It was a beautiful wedding, Kurt. It was actually one of the most fun weddings I've been to in a long time, but also just one of the weddings I've been to in a long time because we couldn't go anywhere and do things. So it was honestly great. All right, we got a little table of contents here. These are linked so far, so that's a goal in the final version too. That some of these page numbers are going to change around a little bit once we slot in the last couple things, but let's see what we've got. Preface. Now, also, I should tell you, I'm not planning on reading you the whole book word for word, but this first part, I do. First and foremost, I have to thank my wife, Wendy, for making this book possible. She was endlessly, and still is, supportive in every iteration, success, and failure. The game wouldn't exist without her. That could not be more of an understatement. You have no idea. Oh gosh, she's my superhero, and just can't let that go by without saying. We found all this great supporting art in one of those things where you license a package of art and it's a bunch of stuff. So these kinds of things are extra art that we brought in. And then there's a lot of internal stuff like this that's more of Minerva's work. So there's kind of a mix of stuff here. If you're curious what's what, let me know. Now, the question was asked, what is Demigods? Wait, who's the coward? Oh, if I make a habit of not hiring liches. I just find them unreliable. Demigods is a magical realism role-playing game set in the modern day where all of the gods from every belief system exist at the same time. All of the sun gods from different faith traditions work together to march the sun across the sky. At the same time, the sun is millions of miles away and the earth turns in its orbit. This game uses multiple, sometimes dissonant truths to create a rich, intertwined tapestry of human imagination. That's cool. Oh, because I'm the coward for not reading the whole book. Okay. We'll bleep that out later. Oh God, I love this. This is one of my, what's going to keep out? I'm going to see another thing that Minerva did. We're like, oh, this is one of my favorite pieces in the book. And you're just going to get tired of me saying that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop saying it. So, oh well. Yeah, this art is one of my favorite pieces that Minerva did for the book. Oh, also, sometimes I make up words. The gods, however, cannot visit our earthly plane regularly or for extended periods. Their presence warps reality around them, making their visits necessarily brief. If a deity immortalifies their being, they can visit for a few days, but even in mortal form, the force of their presence starts to push and pull at the fabric of reality. Immortalify. To make oneself mortal. Like you put on what is it? In Men in Black, an Edgar suit. It's like he's wearing an Edgar suit. And yeah, I'm a people. I'm just a people. Yeah, all art could be my favorite. Exactly. Some of the art is lower res. Oh, that's right. Yeah. This is a quick export just so we could make sure all the words are in the right place, but this is going to be a very high quality print. Some of the team, very reasonably, were trying to convince me to do this to print the book in black and white, which is a very smart thing to do, but I refuse to be that smart, so I'm just gonna print it. I'm gonna take the hit on the cost and print it in color because it's just the art is too good. The art is too good, so it's worth it. Gods therefore usually have one main purpose for visiting this mortal realm: creating supernatural emissaries who can act on their behalf, also known as demigods. They said the magic word. Gods can procreate by combining their essence with a consenting mortal's. However, a god can also spiritually adopt a mortal, sometimes much later in life, imbuing them with the essence of the divine's being. Being, not being. I don't know what that would mean. Demigods, being part mortal, cause less stress on reality. They live on Earth just as regular people do. They have friends, jobs, and hobbies, and experience the same daily stresses like paying rent, dating, and catching the bus on time. Sometimes literally catching the bus on time. They also have amazing divine abilities and can live for hundreds of years. This ability makes them perfect for enacting the gods' plans on the mortal plane. The divine being. The head of the legume pantheon. Yes, thank you. We would have Limeus. Trying to think of all the beans I can think of. Oh well, I bet you all come up with something fun. Also, folks, feel free to post questions in the chat and at me in chat if you have a specific question. It's an AMA, so you can ask about the book, you can ask about my process or my thoughts or whatever. If you ask me something I don't want to answer, I won't. And I'll say thank you, but no. So feel free to ask anything. Be respectful, obviously, but you all, I trust you. I don't think you would be disrespectful. So, Pintorius. Oh, that's good. Lord Pinto. Oh God, this is just a whole extra scenario that I'm gonna have to write. All right. Now, these are a couple of the portraits by Amelia Vidal. I like giving people credit for their work. So just give some examples. Why play demigods specifically? Well, because you want to be awesome. We love mythology and want a modern twist on it. We like magical realism stories. You want to see a fairy arguing with a smartphone. Yeah. You enjoy blending stories from different cultures. You want to tell the story of a mortal dealing with the pressures and expectations of the divine. You revel in the complexity of pantheon politics. You like stories where the fabric of reality is at stake. Needed. Ask me almost anything. Yes, Pinebender, thank you. That's accurate. Needed to play a bunch of stuff. This is another thing people tried to keep getting me to straighten out and take out of the book, but I don't care. One of the things here is at least 2 6-sided dice, and then I'm tabbing in to show that it's a sub-thought because I'm a programmer. This is my programmer brain at work, and you can't stop me. Although some people like to have 3 on hand for fate's favor and disfavor rolls. And it's easier if everyone has their own set, but not necessary. Though some dice are jerks, so it's good to have backups. That's there. That's in my book. I stand by my words. Okay, the Herald. What is the Herald? The Herald is the person who runs your game. Other games call these the MC or the Game Master or Dungeon Master, etc. Verk, put them in curly braces. Yes, yeah, I should. Y'all, also, the layout of all that, like, these side, just the scroll work, the highlighting here, the lines, like, all of this is Kurt's genius. This is like, I did not know how to do this. This is all Kurt. This is another one of Minerva's pieces here. You know what? Actually, this bit about the Herald is short, and I like it, so I'm gonna read it. and sing the narration. Nobody wants me to sing the narration. I'll tell you. The Herald is the person who runs your game of Demigods and is responsible for framing the main part of the narrative. Other tabletop RPGs call this blah, 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 blah. For Demigods, the term Herald is much more appropriate. It means, quote, be a sign that something is about to happen. How perfect is that? The Herald is there to present scenarios and to help interpret the reactions of the NPCs in the world. The Herald plays to find out what happens, just like another player at the table. They don't have a grandmaster plan, all of complex web of plot twists. Sure, they may have cobbled together some compelling people and places to keep things interesting, but their real job is to let the characters know what's happening, see what they do with that information, and shape the story around their decisions. That's one of the hills I will die on, is the game runner should always make the game be about the characters and not something that is happening around the characters in spite of the characters. It should be about the player characters. All right, so this before playing section is some safety tips and some thoughts about being culturally appropriate, not appropriative. Okay, we don't want to just gobble up people's cultures without respect. This was very thoughtfully laid out. A lot of this is Kate Bullock's contribution and some of my own. And I don't want to just speed read through this. This is too important to just skim over. So I will leave it to you to read when you pick this up. But it's something that I thought was really important because a lot of mythological stories are filled with absolute fucking bastards. Just people that are not fun to tell stories about. And in some cases, it's okay to go ahead and update that. Like if it's a culture from which you're, connected to. Like if I include Zeus in a story that I'm telling, I'm gonna be toning down his Zeusness a little bit because he's a monster. And that's not fun. So this is a section on how to address that, how to deal with it, how to be respectful, especially because a lot of these religions are still in practice today. Like I personally know somebody who has an altar to Odin in his house and prays to Odin. So, and that, I don't mean that like to be flippant. Like that is, I'm respectful of that person's religious devotion. That's fine. So it's really important that we are respectful of these real world religions that people care about. You can use different comment structures like slash and slash star. This is good. I like all of this. Well, we've also got a tone setting here where this is where the Herald kind of lays out what kind of game they were hoping to run in Demigods. And that also gives the players an opportunity to make characters that kind of make sense within that, right? Like if you want to have a very jokey campaign that's just every other sentence is a punchline, then everyone can make that character, a character that fits with that. Or if the Herald is hoping to lay out some story ideas that are a little bit more serious and thoughtful, then they might be asking the group to say, you know what, this storyline that I have is not going to be served by having a bunch of Muppets as main characters. So can we try to keep that in mind as we make our characters? Having like a TV or movie rating system is usually along that line. Pinebender, did you make the chart with the pantheons and their domains? Pinebender, I did a lot of versions of that and struggled with including it. And I don't think I will, because in a lot of ways that chart, one, was the product of me just Googling a bunch of stuff, and two, ends up feeling it's on this point of being respectful of modern mythology and feels a little bit reductive, and so it's not a document that I want to put out in the world and say like, here, this is how these pantheons work, because I don't think that's my place. My goal with Demigods was to make a game that let you bring your understanding of various mythology to the game and not have the game tell you how to play your mythology. So, yeah, but I understand your question and thank you for asking it. It's just not. I don't think it's my place to put that list out there. We're setting the tone, talking about expectations, content warnings, lines and veils. These are some tools. Lines and veils, as I understand it, was created by Ron Edward. The X card by John Stavropoulos. You can check out more about that online. I think it's important and in fact critical to use safety tools. I never leave home without them. There are some other things on just being an excellent player. And more of Minerva's awesome art. Oh my god, so good. Hey, do y'all want to know how to be a good player? Be nice to each other. I'm going to read some of this. Being a good player isn't about being a good storyteller. It's about being a good person and a good conversationalist. Listen, give space for others to talk, share the spotlight, ask questions for clarity, build on each other's ideas, be kind, be charitable, and be accountable. A lot of this is the stuff that Kate Bullock brought into the document. Those qualities make someone excellent, including the Herald. Excellent players value each other over the story and put work into making each other feel included and welcome. And I do mean work there, right? It's like sometimes it's not easy to do this. Behaviors that hurt, isolate, or make others feel unwanted aren't excellent. That is not how we play this game. Remember to always strive to be an excellent player and human. This will help your entire table create better stories, have better relationships, and build meaningful experiences together. That's just too important. And we also have a section here on if something does go wrong. If somebody gets stressed out, maybe they wish they had used the X card sooner, or realized something that should have been on their lines and veils but didn't want to say in front of everyone, or somebody knew that it was someone's line and kind of pushed it as far as they could. There's some backup here for how to take care of your friends, how to take care of your group, because that's what we're here to do on this earth, is take care of each other, make sure we're all okay. Another one of these sectional pieces. The world of Demigods, the setting. Oh my god. This is one of my favorite Minerva pieces. All of the characters in the quick start, the characters on the playbooks, have backstories. I wrote them all, and in fact, some of them were written by contributors. Like the warrior character was in large part Abria Iyengar's contribution. The Verdant, in large part, was Pooja Sharma's contribution. There's just so much of this that came together from this is a team effort. God, look at this. God damn, Ash is awesome. There's a lot of this here is about how the world of Demigods is rooted in expectation. So, how do you expect reality to play out? A big part of that. Being supernatural in a mundane world. The gods can't come to the mortal plane very often or for very long, so they want emissaries to further their goals. See, every deity wants to be the most popular, but they can't just come out and announce themselves. The gods exist because mortals believe in them. If a significant number of mortals knew that gods existed for a fact, the power of belief would fade away, and the supernatural plane would collapse in on itself. No one's even sure what that would mean exactly, but suffice to say, most deities don't want to find out. Player characters were created for that very reason. The player characters, not the players. The players, I don't know. I don't have an explanation for our entire cosmic existence. But there's an unexpected catch. These demigods are special because they are the first group of demigods in all of human history with the ability to work together. A group of demigods that can work together in this manner is called a weave. Normally, when demigods collaborate, their collective efforts warp reality real quick, similar to when gods visit the earth for too long. You figure one god is worth 2, 3, 4 demigods, something like that. Depends on the demigod. So that's a big component of what's happening here is why. So first of all, I had to be able to answer the question of why don't demigods team up all over the place in this setting, right? Because if they did, they would just steamroll over the mortals, and even without revealing the truth of deities, they could still use their supernatural powers and just steamroll over everything, and the mortals wouldn't have a chance. So I included this idea that demigods are supposed to work independently, and what is unique about the player characters is the process they went through to become a weave, which sort of props up their power and prevents it from creating that gravitational black hole of divine impact. Look at what Kurt did. Look at this. These art assets that we brought in. This flows perfectly into Minerva's art. I mean, this looks like it could be on the roof. I mean, not in a literal sense, but it's just artistically flows together like this. The cobwebs here in the bar coming off of this, swirly thing. This probably has a word for it. It's a half circle. I don't know. It's just fucking cool, man. Here we talk a little bit about the veil and what that means, that humans, mortals, try to ignore anything that they see in supernatural worlds. Because they don't really want to know that it's real. They want to believe, but they don't want to know it. And so the veil is this just sort of intangible sense that a star. Yeah, it is kind of a star chart. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these are planets and constellations and whatnot. But then the fact that just flows directly into this web. Was that 100% on purpose, Kurt Potts? Or, I mean, you should just say yes either way. But, I mean, look at that. Yeah, Erica, it's Zodiac-esque for sure. Without being overtly the specific Zodiac. This is a goose. This is a stick bug. This is the letter Su in Japanese. This is two people holding hands. The twins? Oh, Kurt sees it in the side-by-side. Is that this? No. No. Oh, no. What did I do? Exit read mode. Hey, that worked. If I just zoom out a lot, will it? No. I don't know how to switch to that, Kurt. I'm sorry. You could zoom in though, huh? Feel born under stink bug. Detective Zen. That goose is Leo? That's supposed to be a lion? I guess a lion laying down. I'm in Adobe Reader. Acrobat Reader. Window help view. Page display. 2-page view. Oh no, then it left. Oh. I see what I want. I don't like when it jumps a whole page. 2-page scrolling. There we go. That's what I want. Because I want to be able to see the in-between here. Oh, wait, but that's not right. This is backwards, Kurt, right? It's irking me in my soul that you say that demigods have never teamed up together, and in the next sentence, you call that team up a weave. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go back to single. I think because we needed a filler page to make that sit the right way. Pinebender, I don't know if you can elaborate on that at all. I'm not totally sure which part of that is frustrating. In that the player characters are the first ones to be able to team up, but I'm interested in. Well, welcome, Mithrian. Welcome. Better late than never. That's you're welcome here. Show cover page. Aha. Okay. Okay, very cool. This is good, Kurt. Thank you for walking me through that, because I kind of want to give the spread view. Oh, well, Pinebender, we needed a term in the book, so I didn't have to say the group of demigods, this unique group of demigods over and over and over and over. So here we are. But I understand you now. I can understand why that would be a pet peeve. Yes, the car exploded. It was epic. Poetic felicity. Thank you, Mithrian. This was an example from actual play on Happy Jacks. Samantha's character used magic to flip a car while playing the arcane, and the others joked that it was going to blow up like a Hollywood stunt because her character was kind of naive about cars. The actual backstory, her character was from a cult and didn't grow up around modern technology. Yeah, so she was naive about cars. Samantha was asked, I asked her, would your character expect the car to explode like in the movies? She said, yes, the car exploded. It was epic. This is no surprise, being me, the explosive, like I like bombs and blowing stuff up in video games. And I think there was a die roll involved there that we weren't totally sure how that was going to play out, but it worked out, and it was one of my favorite moments of all time of role-playing games. So, oh, Kurt, I'm so happy to have this layout view. Thank you. This is, oh, okay, fantastic. I know lots of people, when they get the PDF, will just read it in portrait view. Oh, my hair's a little see-through. I guess it's gone enough green. It's green and blue together. Now it just looks like popsicle blue. From the Lovecraftian pantheon, indeed. Yes. Okay. So, pantheons. What is a pantheon? This is a term that some people will be unfamiliar with. It did originally specifically refer to the temple that the Romans worshipped their gods in. The Roman gods that I think became the Greek gods. I think that's the order. The Roman gods were first, then the Greek gods. But the term in common uses has come to mean, any collection or family of deities. Oh, the Greeks were first. Okay, thank you. But the Romans built this building called the Pantheon, and it's that's where the term originally came from. So each character belongs to a pantheon. One of the nice things about this is so a lot of this game was me, I had a checklist of things that I couldn't do in other games about people who are like demigods, and one of the things that I really wanted to be able to do was have everyone be from different pantheons, or the same pantheon, or the same deity, and their characters are still different. A lot of the things that's baked into other games is if you are the child of Athena, then you are this, and this, and that's it. You can't be like a himbo son of Athena, right? Or a scholar poet daughter of Zeus, right? Like that's just not a thing that is attributed to those families. And in fact, a lot of children are not very much like their parents. Thank goodness. And that's worth noting. So anyway, that's how we handle pantheons here. It's mostly like the any comment on pantheon is really just where is your character from, right? Like what is influencing their life? That's why we note this, right? What cast of deities can I bring in to mess with your characters? I mean, to help your characters, obviously. What? Who said that? Oh, this is something that isn't in the quick start, I don't think. Visiting other planes of existence, even a character's own home pantheon, will be tricky at first. If the character has not used any ascendance moves, we'll get to that if you're not sure, they are still mortal enough that the experience should be uncomfortable. This is essentially the reverse of a deity visiting the mortal world. A character in this state should take -1 to all rolls anywhere but the mortal plane, except for the demigod-owned pocket dimensions like Sanctum or Secret Garden or stuff like that. Those little pocket dimensions are yours. But if you are visiting the Dodecatheon, Olympus, where the Greek gods live, and you haven't used any ascendance moves, you are still so mortal that the experience should be awful. In joke from Happy Jacks AP, what's an ascendance move? No, that's perfect timing, Erica, because that hasn't been explained yet, but it is in the quick start if anyone's curious. And I do have an explanation here somewhere. I don't know. I like how the ink in the middle of the page looks exactly like my father. I don't understand that, but that's okay. I don't have to. Greek became Roman after Troy was sacked. Oh, the Aeneid. Yes. Yeah. Fused with Etruscan and Greek. Yeah. Oh, hey, Nightshade. Welcome. yeah, we're going through the whole book tonight. Well, this is taking me a lot longer than it. Okay, well, we're here till I'm done, so whatever. It's an inkblot psychology joke. Oh, yeah, maybe that could be. Okay, so we give some guidance here on how to make your own pantheons. I have a couple of modern day pantheons that I made for the setting of this book. Rather than going through and telling you how pantheons should be thought of from around the world, that's for you. That's the little bit of research you want to do when you're going to play the game. You know, if you're going to bring in the Aztec gods or the Shinto gods or any of that, then you should do a little bit of reading, and there's some guidance on how to be respectful or how to watch for any missteps that oh, that was your Rorschach test. Okay. That's funny. But the process here is I like to focus on what an actual belief system is. Like what is it that mortals worship, right? And worship can be can mean a lot of things for my purposes of creating pantheons in this game. But I think about national and city identity is often extremely, those are very strongly held beliefs for a lot of people, in that it's very important that they're from Boston and what that means to them and what everyone else should assume about them. And, you know, to me, that would create a Boston deity that means something to how most Bostonians identify. And by that same token, I would say the 5 boroughs in New York, that should probably be a pantheon of 5 deities, and in New York City, I should say, and you know how their interplay would fit together. On one of the old Happy Jacks forum, we had a good discussion about what a corporate pantheon would look like. Yeah. Hey, I'm deifying over here. The detective said that's. I could hear it exactly as you meant it. That's so good. I figured sports teams, sports rivalries there would be enough kind of faith and belief put into their sports teams that mortals would create some deities out of that. Complex systems like government bureaucracy, like you're trying to make a claim on your insurance. We just sort of assume that they work and hope that when we fill out this form, something will happen. But most people don't actually have an in-depth understanding of how all of those pieces fit together. Some people do. I'm not saying nobody does, but so many people just have to go on faith that that's the generative energy of creating modern deities. Well, Erica, the way I think about corporate deities is not like Coca-Cola is a deity and Nike is a deity. I think more about like HR is a deity. You know, like the universal concept that exists within corporations, or if you want to think about like capitalism as a deity, then, you know, capitalism, communism, you know, maybe those sort of economic structures as deities, something like that, I could see fitting together. Loved playing this agenda. Pinebender, I remember that character. That was a very fun experience. I remember Michael Michelle. That was, and yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get you the spreadsheet that you were asking for, that chart. I know it was helpful in the moment, but I really do feel like it's a sensitivity misstep that I'm gonna leave behind. McDonald's Pantheon. Happy Jacks RPG, how dare you? Hey, Happy Jacks, are you guys going on tonight? What time are you going on? I was gonna double check when we head out. Capitalism singing Toxic Love. Oh, you're not on tonight. Okay, well, that's good to know. And then some things that you want to decide if you're coming up with a brand new pantheon is, is the system monotheistic or polytheistic? If it is monotheistic, how do you want to break that down? Are there lots of individuals that are part of it, like how I did the media pantheon? If it's polytheistic, like how I did the science pantheon, but there are some examples of how to do all that. Oh, the Wednesday campaign wrapped. Okay, I really do have to get caught up on that then, because the Wednesday Hexbreakers was my favorite thing. I'm Commander Shepard, and Hexbreakers on Wednesdays on Happy Jacks is my favorite live stream. Oh, Mithrian, any Fern Gully reference, you have me in your pocket. It also is a story about, there's some unfortunate problematic elements to it, but that movie is deep in my heart. So again, folks, if you do have specific questions, feel free to @ me in the chat. This is part AMA. I do want to answer your questions. I'm going to scoot through some of this. Like I said before, I'm not going to read it all word for word. Okay, so this art, we went ahead and inserted here, even though it's not Minerva's or Amelia's. It is, oh crap, I should have looked up this guy's name before. But it was a commission because the Science Pantheon was different and some original material that I was really proud of. And this guy really brought it home for me. Is his name on here? Oh, Rydeth Mochi. Should definitely look him up. He does incredible work. He included all this background stuff for me on a budget, and it just was, I cannot, and he was awesome to work with. Like, he just was very clear, good communicator. And it blew me away. Is the other one up here too? No, the other one's going to be in the art chapter. There's like one or two more of these. Okay, so the Science Pantheon is here. So again, this, I go through and explain kind of my take on what the Science Pantheon is, but more than being sure, use this as a resource in your game. I want this to be an example of how to make your own pantheons. That's the ultimate goal of this, is to be a springboard, be a what do you call it? Template of how to DIY pantheon. Do y'all want to hear about the pantheon deities? There's a little bit of backstory going on here, or we can skip. We can skip it and move on to some other stuff. I'll let chat decide. Core beliefs. While we're deciding, this belief system is based on common misunderstandings or gaps in scientific knowledge. Oh, here, I'll start at the top. Science Pantheon's rooted in the notion that millions of people around the world believe in the claims of scientists, but don't understand them well enough to explain why they work. They have faith instead. This faith gave rise to a pantheon of deities that spawned from the layperson's imagination and understanding of scientific principles. This belief system is based on common misunderstandings or gaps in scientific knowledge. Chemistry blows things up, math is terrifying, and biology is a sticky mess. That's not entirely wrong. But the Earth is heating up, is round, orbits the sun. Faith in these ideas is the engine of creation in this case. Right? And I'm not suggesting that those things aren't true. What I'm suggesting is the fact that most people don't understand why they're true is what created these deities. Further, deities in this pantheon are not the big respectable names in science history. After all, people like Katherine Johnson, Marie Curie, Albert Einstein understood their fields in great detail. But science deities embody the essence of misunderstood scientific principles. Their very existence flies in the face of every piece of documented research. So, want to hear more? One of my favorite things about the game, take on belief in science. This was tricky to write because, especially over the last few years, this has become a more contentious issue. Like when I first started writing this was like a very funny take on like people who can't explain the Pythagorean theorem, but know that it's okay to use, right? But now trusted science has really deteriorated a lot in real life, and yeah, Mithrian, it's almost too real now. But that's okay. That's okay. All right, so the way I've imagined the afterlife. Any chance you're going to start a new Demigods in celebration of the release of the book? Oh yeah, a new campaign? Definitely. I think when the PDF goes out, I will definitely be looking for a spot to run something. Maybe over with our friends at Happy Jacks RPG? Maybe. But I also know their docket is full and there's just like tons of stuff going on there. So if it doesn't happen there, I'll run something on my channel. But Happy Jacks has been so good to me in this entire process. Happy Jacks is the other thing that made this whole game possible. Like the game wouldn't exist without Happy Jacks and Kimmy. Like that's not an exaggeration. I want everyone to understand that. Can I still get a print copy or is it PDF only? So the PDF is going to obviously be available, and then we're going to have a print on demand after I fulfill all the Kickstarter orders, because I feel like I need to do that first. Then I'll probably have like a stack of extra books at the house that I can send out. But yes, there will eventually be a print on demand option for the book. It's very pretty, and I really want people to have hard copy of the book. So, who was asking that? Erica. Yes, there will be hard copies available, but I'm totally committed to getting it to the Kickstarter backers first, and then making it available online. Absolutely. There's always room in the schedule for Demigods. Well, that's awesome. Detective Zen, you realize this degradation in the belief of science gives rise to the Fox News type pantheon? Yeah. Yes. And folks, you like, I don't make any apologies for my ridiculously liberal take on things. So, just so you know, up front, that's who I am and what I'm about. I'm a queer creator and doing my best out here, and you might as well know that about me going into it. So the release date for the PDF will be like pretty much right after the Kickstarter backers get it, and if we can get all the editing done, like this document has to go to the final editor to make sure like page references match up and the indexing makes sense and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping October, November, sometime in there, just in time for the holidays, and exactly 3 years late. But the short answer is very, very soon, like within a couple months, because it's done. I have to index it and put the art thing together and get the editing back. So that's it. That's it. We're almost there. And I have to set up my drive-through RPG account. because I don't have a distributor account yet, but I'm going to. See me go off in civil discourse on HD. Yeah, I know. It looks so fantastic. Well, thank you, Happy Jacks. Thank you. It definitely would not have been this good if I had just like pumped this out 3 years ago. There'd be a bunch of it that just doesn't exist, and also it wouldn't look this good because, like, I didn't know Kurt that well 3 years ago, and now we're having a great time, or at least I'm having a great time working with Kurt. He's probably a little sick of me at this point, but having a great time working with Kurt and putting all this together, and it just wouldn't be this. Look at this fucking thing. I'm sort of mad at how good it is. Oh, yeah, Erica, I've always wanted to do a holiday pantheon, kind of like, you know, the doors that Jack Skellington sees in The Nightmare Before Christmas? Where there's, like, the turkey and the Christmas door and the four-leaf clover. You know, I've always wanted something like that, because there are so many holidays that you could pick from. Of course, some of the holidays are religious, and that would perhaps conflict, but then... Is Christmas a religious holiday? It is for some people, but not everyone. I don't know. There's a new movie coming called Violent Night. Do the holidays fight? Oh. So game crossover in Happy Jack's future. Maybe that's what we'll run. Okay, folks. So the afterlife here, there's a whole thing about what the science afterlife is like. It's like a big college campus. But it's all like mixed up, messed up. You know, people get jobs. It doesn't really have like a good place, bad place. It's like you get shit jobs or prestigious jobs if you were good according to science. Okay, so each scientific discipline below is the name of a deity in the pantheon. Physics is a deity, as is chemistry, astronomy, etc. 9 are listed here because there are 9 playbooks, but the pantheon could easily have dozens of gods, one for each scientific discipline. These deities, like the big names we know in Greek, Egyptian, or Japanese mythology, are part of the setting and can be parents, pests, and pains in the lines of the demigod player characters. They are listed here in playbook order to represent the type of offspring they usually want to foster. So the arcane of the science pantheon I wrote as chemistry. Chemistry represents the magic of transmutation. He wears a lab coat and safety goggles full of mist that obscures his eyes. Father to earth science and biology, he is usually slow to anger, but truly reactive in the wrong situation. God damn it. That's fucking good. It's immodest to laugh at one's own jokes, but I haven't read that in a hot minute, and that got me. It's so stupid. There, somebody high-fived me, so it must be good. Okay, engineering is the artificer of the science pantheon. Engineering embodies the maker ethos. She wears coveralls and a tool belt with strange, impossible-looking devices. Frequently busy and distracted by projects, engineering is usually the least plugged in to pantheon politics. She's usually distracted and, you know, kind of doing her own thing. Oh, Cadlet Base, thank you so much. Oh, I love you all so much. The celestial of the pantheon is astronomy. Well, that seems like an easy dunk. A true admirer of the stars, holds space for the dreamers and the seekers. They are difficult to perceive and mostly look like a humanoid hole in the fabric of reality. This is one of the pieces that Mochi did. It's gonna be in the art chapter, y'all. Oh, it's so good. Through which we see a blanket of stars and the inky darkness of space. They always know more than they let on and like to be 9 steps ahead of any plot. The elemental, earth science, embodies all of the elements. They are the most inhuman of the pantheon, alternating between slightly anthropomorphic aspects of fire, earth, wind, metal, and water. They are the child of chemistry, though they desperately want to be seen as more than chemistry's creation. Earth science, therefore, spends much of their energy on achieving recognition for their own accomplishments. The muse, in this case, is behavioral science. Behavioral science is a dual entity covering both psychology and psychiatry because most mortals don't know the difference. Their visage shifts between that of a shrewd purveyor of medicines and the kindly interviewer with so many questions about your childhood. Sometimes they can split into 2 beings, but they always have to merge again eventually. The Reaper is math, because nobody escapes death or taxes. Math presides over the dead and tallies debts and skills to assign people an area on the afterlife campus. He's a small, balding man with a telescoping slide rule that doubles as a weapon and tally tool. Sometimes I feel like a humanoid hole in the feather haircut. That's good. Sorry, can you scroll back up to that last page for a second? Pinebender. This one? Or the art page? This is Quantum, which we'll get to in a second. The trickster, quantum science, is barely understood, but what we know seems spooky at best. Spooky? You get it. Everyone perceives quantum a little differently, but they typically resemble the most inscrutable person the observer has ever met. We have no idea what they look like when they're alone. That's very funny. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I was trying to find it, but no, I think it's right. Action at a distance. Thank you, Erica Odd. Yes. Try forcing them through a slit in some metal. No, Kurt Potts, that's dangerous and rude. The verdant is biology. Biology is the proliferation of life in all its forms. She wears a bright yellow viral containment suit. She is also chemistry's favorite child, and neither of them are shy about it, much to earth science's chagrin. The warrior. Physics for the many practical applications of force, mass, and acceleration. He takes the form of an androgynous android with charcoal gray plastic skin. His glowing eyes look like the classic and inaccurate drawing of an atom. You know that the atom that we saw in textbooks 20 years ago and today, actually I've seen it recently, is incorrectly drawn. But of course, that has to be what a deity of physics would represent. The wrong image. All right, so the media pantheon, The media is not just the internet incarnate. The internet is her latest form, but the primordial version of this deity has been around since the first people were telling stories around a campfire. Once a minor deity, her strength and status grew alongside our ability to communicate. First, she was stories passed down by word of mouth, then tablets and handwriting, but it was the printing press that truly launched her into the stratosphere of godhood. Books, radio, TV, each platform touched more people than the one before. Now, billions of people, billions and billions, give hours and hours of their life to media via the internet. Media is every story, good and terrible, empowered by the means to communicate her message. She is every great novel, but she is also angsty online poetry, mindless action movies, and reality television. She couldn't care less how you worship her as long as you stay tuned. Good. It's embarrassing at how immodest I am. That's what I'm embarrassed about. Oh, androids are specifically male? I'm gonna make a note about that and see if I can. Oh, you know what though? I think actually he uses he, him pronouns. He just has an androgynous appearance. But he uses he, him. Yeah. So maybe android is okay. This is all worth being proud of. Well, thank you, Mithrian. What was I gonna jump to here? Oh, playbook aspects. So the way the media pantheon is set up is that it's a monotheistic religion with media as the god of that pantheon, but the oh, that's true. It's not supposed to be correct. Yeah, or it should be misunderstood. So media is the pantheon, right? But she is represented by celebrants who are both her and not her. I wanted to dip my toe in the water of some of the true and not true at the same time aspects that Catholicism and other Christian religions play around with, where like Jesus was the Son of God, but also a man. That doesn't require. And again, please, I want to be respectful of people's actual religions. I'm not trying to like dunk on anyone's religion, but those are interesting concepts to me, and I wanted to play around with that as media and not step on someone's actual religion. So, in this case, celebrants are sort of like if you had angels or saints or demons or, whatever sort of extra thing. And she can kind of take over as that, she can embody them. So, does that make Twitter media's divine punishment? Yeah, basically. It's the purgatory. Political power each celebrant can wield waxes and wanes with popularity. The celebrants called radio and TV are still around, but as their popularity drops in favor of podcasts and live streaming, so does their influence. Books started to wane, but the popularity of ebooks and audiobooks helped bolster her place in the pantheon. Ebooks and audiobooks are similar enough to the original content that books sustained her control over them. Podcasts and streaming services operate in different enough circumstances that they were born as new celebrants, pushing radio and TV to the background. Celebrants are usually allowed to foster demigods, but they are supposed to get media's permission first. And they are also media, but they're not media. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Heavy Jacks. That was one of my favorite things. Because also I'm a huge book nerd, which is nobody's surprise. Nobody's surprised to learn that about me. There's a lot here about mortals don't realize that they're worshiping media in this way. Similar to the science pantheon, but a distinction I make here is that the science pantheon is largely powered by faith without particular acts of worship. Media is the opposite. People are worshiping, quotes around worshiping media without necessarily thinking about it in terms of faith. But my thinking of how this is set up, and when I first described how to set up pantheons and stuff, is to find that balance between faith and worship. But either one can lead to the creation of a pantheon. Oh, Pinebender, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about the chart that I had that had originally showed a lot of gods from different pantheons around the world, from like actual real world mythology. And that chart's not in here. It's just these. And as this serves as an example to make your own as well. All right. So there's some stuff in here about what kind of monsters you could expect, what their afterlife is like. Their afterlife is just a Hollywood studio lot. And it's organized around, who has the most attention. The arcane is Hollywood movie magic, or Hollywood for short. Appears as an androgynous person in a head-to-toe green screen bodysuit. They are capable of the most incredible illusions and transformations, but also crave the attention of an audience. A relatively young deity, Hollywood strives to make a mark for themselves in the greater cosmology of deities in the universe. The Artificer, evolving from shop class handbooks to TV shows, the do-it-yourself celebrant is tutorials, or toots for short. When most mortals need to learn anything from hemming a skirt to swapping out the U-bend pipe in their toilet, they find a video online. Toots appears as whatever the seeker expects when looking for their help, but you'll know them by their signature greeting. What's up, guys? Today we're gonna fill in the blank. Worship Skillshare. The Celestial, this celebrant, is conspiracy. They see signs everywhere and can't wait to tell everyone what they've discovered, though they are cursed to almost never be believed. They have a careless disregard for the truth and will say almost anything to keep people listening. They're typically seen in a trench coat and wide-brimmed hat, and somehow their face is always in shadow, no matter the lighting situation. My proclivities are known. The Elemental. Running hot and cold, mean and nice, this celebrant is called the Comments. With little regard for human interaction, the Comments is at the root of nearly any modern media. They have the dual power to both lift voices up and tear others down with the random violence of a storm. The Comments doesn't have a physical presentation, but manifests as a voice in your head that sounds like 1,000 different people speaking in unison. The Muse. The Muse of the media pantheon. This celebrant is the influencer of the internet, or just influencer. They thrive on presenting an ideal image to their audience while inspiring others to live their best life. Probably the youngest in the pantheon, they began as motivational speakers, a tiny cosmic presence, and took off into a category all of their own. Influencer will look like what you most expect to see when meeting them. Oh, yeah, this is another Minerva great. The Muse playbook art. His name is Kwame. The Reaper. The written word has resurrected itself so many times, books easily fell into the Reaper role of this pantheon. They keep track of histories and accumulated knowledge, which they use to help mortals when they pass on. Books appears as the prototypical librarian we see in movies. Glasses, stuffy attire, and a soft voice that's always ready to shush anyone who makes enough noise to wake the dead. The trickster deities are often about teaching a lesson just as much as the actual trick they might be pulling. This deity, oh, thank you so much for those cheers, those bits. Be Right UK, thank you so much. Oh, and welcome back, Blue Troller. Welcome back. We were just talking about you and how lovely this art is. Books appear. Oh yeah. The trickster deity is called Advertisement, or Addy for short. He's been around ever since mortals started selling things to each other. And he's only grown stronger in the convergence of capitalism and the information age. He doesn't have to go door to door anymore. Ads show up in your inbox, on the side of every web page, and in the background of your favorite streamer. He appears as a 50-something man in a dark suit with no tie and the top button undone, almost always with a drink in hand. I went a little madman with that. What do you want? The power of ad blocker compels you. Yes, Kurt Potts. Thank you. The verdant of this is artiste. Artiste is the celebrant who embraces most forms of live performance that didn't originate on the internet. Stage plays, concerts, flash mobs, and standing on a crate shouting into a megaphone are all under artiste's purview. Artiste doesn't change their face, but they almost always appear in a cheap costume that screams community theater. Their outfit always suits the current environment, but it's accompanied by thick stage makeup that usually looks out of place. Their gender presentation is fluid, and they adopt pronouns on a case-by-case basis. The warrior. I'm proud of this. I'm going to say it ahead of time this time. Does it literally scream that? From the earliest writings of Enheduanna, rhetoric formed alongside the ancient deities of Sumer, but is also independent from them. She spread out from there through political debates and eventually became the celebrant of argument within media's pantheon. Rhetoric, the deity, was inspired by Enheduanna, the person. She looks like the Sumerian priestess, but dresses as a soldier from ancient Sumer, wielding the sword of Pathos, the shield of Ethos, and the helm of Logos, as she champions the integrity of expression. She cares not about the substance of one's argument, but despises arguments based on rhetorical fallacies, such as false equivalence, circular reasoning, and ad hominem attacks. Yeah. Take that, bad arguers. Oh, this is another one of Amelia's pieces. An Amelia original. Alright, so this is, if you've played any Powered by the Apocalypse game, you've heard about the play to find out ethos. You can catch up on that when you read through. Oh my god, we're only on page 35. Well, I gotta keep this moving a little bit. Here, let me teach you how to roleplay. This was actually one of the things I had to add into the book that I had never thought of, because it never occurred to me making this game that Demigods would be someone's first PBTA game, let alone first RPG ever. And that has happened, and that blows my mind and fills me with pride is the wrong word. It's in the right neighborhood. Like, I'm honored. I'm honored that this might be somebody's first experience with RPGs, and hopefully they have a good time. But it made me think, oh, I need to explain how to do this well. So I put in everything that I care about in role playing and tried to figure out how to explain it good. Fills me with fuzzy feelings. Yes, thank you. That's a really good explanation. All right, so I'm not going to read all this to you, but we talk about dice rolling, how to roll with fate's favor and disfavor, how the threads work. Threads are the experience points in this game. Most of this is already explained in the quick start guide. There's not a lot of expansion here. It was all pretty well understood before. Ran a one session that was somebody's first role-playing game ever. Oh my gosh! Mithrian has specifically experienced this. Thank you for telling me that. It's fine. I'm just so excited that they had a good time. Sorry. God damn it. Hold on. I have an emotion in my eye. It's making me tear up. Oh, that's all. Yeah, Eric, I remember. I think you mentioned that in the Happy Jacks Discord. I'm really excited to hear how it goes. I would love to hear. One of the things I'm really proud of with Threads, and something that I had toyed around with in other games, like even back when I played Shadowrun and characters got karma as a reward, I would let people spend karma before that was part of the, I think in 4th edition or something, they included karma expenditures, or I just ripped off the idea from them. But I love the idea that the thing that you're gaining experience in that will let you quote unquote level up or buy advancements in this game also can be used in an immediate sense. And you have to decide, is it worth getting this immediate bonus and delaying my advancement? Or do I just take it on the chin with whatever just happened? I don't spend a thread because I'm trying to get that last thread to advance. I love that decision, that decision has to be made. LFG, LFP in the Discord. Oh, looking for game? Recognize the herald's name, but I'll ask if they're on HJ Discord. Oh yeah. So on the Happy Jacks Discord, I'm bad at using Discord, but after the book goes out, I need to focus a little bit on pivoting to it's probably okay games is the banner under which Demigods will live. I'm not focusing on that right now because I don't want to confuse anyone or lose momentum on Demigods. But Demigods is officially a product of probably okay games. And when that goes up big in lights, I should probably make a probably okay games Discord when I can actually manage it and have moderators, because you should not have a Discord without moderators. That's literally dangerous. But that's kind of my long-term plan with that. But otherwise, Pinebender, yes, I will. There will be something in. I'm sure I will be hitting people up for games in the Happy Jacks Discord. By the way, you should go to happyjacks.org/Discord. Has I think that has the invite to hang out in the Happy Jacks Discord. Lots of cool folks over there. You should go watch our shows too. For the iPog Discord invites, yeah. Awesome. Okay, so spending threads is fun. Advancement. So this is one of Amelia's pieces. This is our Reaper art, and I think she was first. I think Anna here was officially first, and it was so important to me to get this right because her background is that she's the DJ from Guatemala, and has, you know, like the Dia de los Muertos is part of her background, and so getting the headphones with the candy skull art on there was so important. And also the fact that Emilia is from Buenos Aires, like this is also partially her, like, I shouldn't speak on her behalf, but it's a part of culture that she was like intimately familiar with and understood what I was getting at, and why a Reaper, somebody who is, you know, like understands death and dying, would be a party personality. Like, it was something that she really got, and I had so much trouble explaining to people. And so the fact that this art could stand up the Reaper playbook and explain what I was trying to do. And you can be a sad Reaper if you want to, but you don't have to. You could be a party Reaper, and that works. So that was a thing that I really wanted to hit home on that. Yeah, Kurt, this page is a fucking masterpiece. The Arc to Godhood. Player characters are on a path to eventually sit with their pantheon. Demigods can live a long time as pseudo-mortals, hundreds of years even. But once they begin using their abilities and meddling with mortal affairs, they start to grow in power. As they grow in power, their mortal bodies flake away, making it impossible for them to remain in the mortal realm. This process is mostly metaphorical, but a demigod's physical appearance may change as well. Now, somebody asked, what's an Ascendance move? The Ascendance move captures that moment when a demigod's mortality slips away as they embrace their divinity. Every playbook has a unique Ascendance move which can be used up to 3 times over the course of the game. The character can use their Ascendance move at any time simply by announcing its use. No dice roll is required for this, it just works. Players should read the text aloud and then take the narrative reins for the immediate scene. The effect can carry on for a bit, but generally not hours and hours, and there may be long-lasting repercussions. As a point of etiquette, if one person uses their Ascendance move, it's polite for the other players to lean into that and participate, rather than also triggering their own Ascendance moves to pile on. Sometimes it can be fun to team up if you talk about it ahead of time, like wanting to create a combined effect of some kind, but otherwise try to give that player as much of the spotlight as you can in that moment. They're burning away a third of their mortality after all. It's their time to shine. I'm not going to read them all. Kurt, that's very good. After the heat of the moment has passed, the player must choose a permanent consequence. PBTA capitalization in effect. From the list on their playbook, the character should also become notably stranger after the first and second use of this move. Perhaps they're harder to talk to, or they have trouble relating to mortals, or any number of other outcomes. Characters can also be invited to their pantheon's plane of existence after having used their Ascendance move at least once. They can't choose to visit on their own, but if the Pantheon sends a messenger or conveyance, the character will survive the visit. Ooh, I have to update this paragraph. Page 42. Update visiting. That's not in line with how we described visiting other planes earlier on. Hey, that's why we do this. After the third and final use of their Ascendance move, too much of their mortal coil has sloughed off and they can't remain on the mortal plane anymore. Let them play out the scene affected by their Ascendance move, and then they must say their goodbyes. In practical terms, the player must retire the character from play, The character then becomes a deity for the herald to invoke when appropriate. The player narrates their character's flashy exit. They did just literally become a god, and then picks a playbook to make a new character. Some of this is on, how to incorporate that new player. There's an example of play here. This looks so fucking good. Look what Kurt did with this absolute fucking mess of text I gave him. He made it good. He made it so good. God damn it, Kurt. Oh, this is Minerva's. Look at this sneaky tentacle. What are you doing? What are you doing in there? Who's in there? Who's your little tentacle? All right, so we have how to choose a setting, how to set up, how to pick playbooks, what they mean, playbook types. There's a section here, consent is divine. This talks about how in Demigods, I expect all demigods that their parents gave informed consent to have a child with the deity that they had a child with. If they're having a child in the conventional manner. Similar, if you're an adult who is adopted by a deity, then that you have the ability to give consent for that. There is, I'm fine with just leaving out non-consensual deity bullshit that we're used to from everyone's mythology from around the world. Everyone's got shitty stories. That's not unique to like the Greeks or whatever. But we could do better. We could do better. Backstory here. Oh, this is walking through how to work on your playbook. What is everything that's on your playbook. It explains your attributes, talks a little bit about what gifts, like picking gifts, but there's a whole section on this that explains more about gifts. Actually, y'all are gonna like that. We talk about the spindle. The spindle has since adapted for people who played earlier copies. It only manifests as a place. The spindle is no longer a person. I think I may release like a advanced or weird rule option later. But most of the time, not most of the time, I just heard a lot of stories about, Burke, thank you for asking. I heard a lot of stories about how is the spindle in trouble this week? Is what it turned into for a lot of people who didn't totally understand what I was trying to get at with the spindle. And because it's a quick start guide and there wasn't enough room to explain everything, I was writing a book. It didn't hit right. It didn't do what I wanted it to do, which was like be a thing that the characters were rallying around. And I thought it was kind of cool. What if the spindle was a human being that got caught up in what the demigods were doing? And I think I will add that back in at some point as an expansion rule, but it mostly resulted in confusion and lack of clarity. So this, making it a location, made it crystal clear and easier to explain. So the spindle is no longer a playbook, Ravenwing. I'm instead working on a playbook called the Mortal. So we can have a mortal friend, but they will no longer be a specific playbook. But yeah, I didn't want to just short, because I promised everyone I would do a spindle playbook, but in redesigning the game, that happens sometimes, right? So plans change, but there will be a mortal playbook as soon as I get all this done. The binding, this talks about how we actually form the weave. Some supernatural disaster cropped up, and the demigods bonded together to protect and bonded to each other in the process of that, creating the weave. And and the spindle as a person could feel non-consensual. Yeah, I agree, Erica. That is something that came up in conversation at one point. That definitely does not totally embrace the concept of consent that I want to have in the game. So that's a really good point. Thank you for mentioning that. This is another one of Amelia's characters. The Celestial, which it embodies a lot of the like hunter vibe. You know, you're not Athena's. You're, oh my gosh, what's the hunter's name? Artemis. Okay, I got there. Artemis. Thank you, Kurt Potts. I got it before you typed it. But thank you. Tangles are your character's relationships to each other. Advancements, how to change playbooks if you need to, like if your trickster is now more of a verdant, maybe something has happened in their life and you need to switch to a different playbook. That's an advancement you can take in the game and make a shift. The basic moves. This is just a longer explanation of the basic moves from the quick start guide. There's just more text here about what is this move? What does it mean? How do we get improvising, right? This whole thing is like, what happens when none of the moves fit what you're trying to do? Okay, well, here's how to wing it. So we got the bend fate move here, perform under pressure. Pierce the veil, provide aid. Grievous harm. This has grown up a little bit over time. Death moves. This is something that's unique to the game that I'm really proud of. Or at least I haven't seen it in another game, but I expect your character to get killed at some point. And this is what happens when they do. And there's some guidance here on what to do. The quick start currently has a like end of session, start of session combination of moves, and I've swapped that out for this time passes move that can happen at the start or the end of session, depending on what oh yeah, having the Reaper here had to go with the death moves. Yeah, especially with the like come with me hand out. That's so good. Okay, so gifts. We're gonna get into more detail here. Come with me if you want to die. Well, you want to die good, right? Come with me because you died. Minerva, thank you. That's come with me because you dead. See this kind of stuff we have to go through and find because I don't know what page this is on yet. So it would, little stuff like that still has to happen. You missed the choppa. All right, so I have been talking for almost 2 hours, so I'm going to take a quick break. We'll interlude here, and I will be right back. All right, we got to keep moving a little bit here. We're barely on page 83 out of 219 or something, so we got to keep rolling here. But take comfort knowing that the gift section here goes to a lot of explanation. Oh, this is Minerva's frog. Look how cute. Gifts. What are they good for? Where do they come from? There's more background explanation for folks maybe newer to gaming in general. Like, what is the whole point of this? Um, and then basically what I've done is break this down into epic items, divine traits, and glorious miscellany because I couldn't think of another term. There it is. It's in my book. It was originally a placeholder, and I finally said, fuck it. That's what it's called. So I called it something weird so I could find and replace anywhere that I used it. And now that's what it's called. So. All right. So gifts help you bend fate and do weird stuff. They come from your Pantheon family or some other dramatic moment in a story. Here's something that's not in the um uh, uh quick start. And in fact, more than one editor has told me to remove, and I refused. So hang on. Sacrificing a gift. Hint, don't do this. No, seriously. It's a bad idea. But if you're going to do it anyway, a player might decide the permanent sacrifice of an item or ability is necessary to save the day. This is a huge deal and should be treated as such. Only the player making the heroic sacrifice can choose this course of action. The Herald should never craft stories that require players to destroy their gifts as the only or even easiest solution to a challenge. If a character sacrifices a gift, the player should narrate how they overcome the obstacle, then they should cross that gift off their sheet. Gifts are imbued with the essence of deities, so their destruction is a serious matter. The power from destroying something like that would definitely be noticed across the planes of existence, so take note for the scope of the fiction in this moment. There may also be complications from whatever deity made the gift. Many items are unique, or at least very difficult to craft. Whoever made it is almost certainly going to have something to say about its destruction. A player who sacrifices a gift cannot take another gift of the same type unless they make an Herculean effort. If they sacrificed an epic weapon, for instance, they cannot use an epic weapon again until undergoing some massive quest in service to whatever deity would craft its replacement. And even then, they might not want to make it. Who would make such a one-of-a-kind piece for someone who has broken it asunder in the past? Ooh, hydrate. Thank you, Myth. So, epic items. I won't go through all of this, but you've got epic armor, instruments, shields, steeds. This is all Minerva's artwork. It's so good. Epic tools, epic weapons. This bicycle was inspiring and had to be under the epic steed section. Epic weapons these can look like all sorts of things. But this just gets into a little bit more explanation. Can media provide a present of an animated image, a gift GIF? I love it. Yes. The epic Schwinn. Divine traits. Again, this is just more explanation of something that I get asked a lot in the game. What is divine charm? What is divine constitution? The answer is still there isn't a perfect black and white answer. It's messy on purpose, right? I want you to decide what divine charm means to you or divine constitution. Some example, like what I do here is I say divine constitution means the demigod is immune to poisons, diseases, toxins, etc. They could drag anyone under the table, even other supernatural types. Anything short of magical venom or poison is ignored, And even then, a Bend Fate roll would be appropriate to see if they can stand up to the Chimera's venomous bite. So that's an example where I'm pretty crystal clear in what I think Divine Constitution is. But for one like actually these I tried to keep this as crystal clear as possible for players who aren't sure how to get started, right? For those of us who've been doing this a long time and know how we like to tweak things, I felt like I didn't need to explain that part of it, you know? So bend at will. Divine Constitution. I can do this all day. Fun fact. Swooping central bar accommodated that voice by however. The ball. Huh. That's interesting. Seems like the so-called girls bike is accommodating for everyone. Like suits a universal design. I don't know. Glorious miscellany. Here, I actually go into playbook by playbook of the odd things they have and what I think of them. So the way I explain ritual spellbook here from the Arcane, this can be played in many different ways, which I could have just said at the start of any of these. It can be an app on a tablet, a little back pocket notebook that's bigger on the inside, or a giant leather-bound tome, for example. It's full of rituals that follow a theme common to the beliefs of the character's pantheon. The spells are generally too long and complicated to be helpful in a fight, but otherwise they have a lot of possibilities. Don't worry about making up every spell in the book. Use Bend Fate to mix and match rituals like recipes to create an effect that makes sense to player and herald. Stuff like that. A little axolotl. Yeah, look how cute. He's so cute. So, most of these are expanding on stuff from the quick start. This is a lot of questions I've gotten over time as well. That what does this mean? What is this for? What is unquenchable flame? I don't know. Make it something cool. And it's an excellent. That's very good. Celestial also gets animal companion, third eye. I talk a little bit about what it means to different pantheons in this case. Science pantheon, media pantheon, just to give some suggestions. There's elemental, the muse. Just they're gifts that aren't epic items, aren't divine traits. That's just the weird stuff. It's very good, Kurt Potts. This is Axe. Oh, this record pick is also very good. This is a Minerva. Love these. Ah, and the Verdant losing her patience with this rhinoceros. Look at she's had it. She's had it with this guy, and he looks embarrassed. Look at that expression on his face. He knows what he did. He absolutely knows what he did. He did a bad, and he's getting in trouble for it. Oh, here's our warrior. Pro gamer. Get good. All right. So the playbooks, this goes into just an explanation more of what each playbook is about. We are going to have actual playbooks in there that you could like take to the copy machine and copy off if you can't download the quick start. But the quick start guide is always going to be available on the website. So you'll have the character sheets in here if you want them. It will also always be a free download. I have this dream goal of making an app that has all the character sheets in it, but that is a dream goal right now. So we'll see what happens. Well, Erica, I don't I don't know if there's anything wrong with saying that. But Pooja did help design the character. Absolutely. Um, well, Pinebender, I guess, I mean, they'll print, if you print it double sided. Maybe I don't understand your question. That's entirely possible. It's not my fault I destroyed the Starbucks. They said it couldn't be a drive through. That does look like, oops, oops, all rhinoceros. I love it. And then there's a little bit here of just my design philosophy of where all this came from. The three spheres, where the 9 playbooks are split up into mind, body, and spirit, and then each set of 3 is further the mind, body, and spirit of that group. And this is mostly just me sort of philosophizing to myself, and probably of interest to no one but me. Again, another thing I was told to cut from the book and did not. So here we are. Oh, it's a beautiful pier with strange, ominous, glowy things in the water. Thank you, Minerva. Okay, so this chapter gets into great detail about what the Herald's all about, and what their job is. Oh yeah, roll 20 character sheets. That is a good point. I should work on that. Um, oh right, yeah, Kurt. We are redesigning the character sheets right now, and they will be designed to have a front and back. Maybe that, if that's the question. Um, Software developer for $1 billion company. If you want to talk about mobile apps, I gave up teaching. Huh. Pinebender. Okay. I don't know if you know, I'm a teacher. I teach computer science, and I was thinking about taking on a project. So maybe we should chat offline. That could be very interesting. Still need to figure out roll 20 character sheets for lighthearted. This is a strange setup. Yeah, that's I looked at it once. I did actually sit down with it once, and then I thought, we're gonna redesign the playbooks anyway. I'll do roll 20 after we redesign the playbooks. Um, oh, that's awesome, Pinebender. Um, you're Oh, right. So the Herald here, this clarifies some of the stuff. A lot of people new to Powered by the Apocalypse feel like, oh, the Herald can't do anything if the people don't roll a 6 minus. Well, that's not true. You do something if they roll a 6 minus, but also if the story slows down, or you need to introduce something new and it's just the right time, or maybe you've indicated kind of a countdown, like, oh, the water's running out of the thing, or the timer is running down, or you've indicated something in the environment that is happening over time. You can express that sort of forward momentum as custom moves. So there's just some guidance here where if you don't have a lot of experience running games, there's some advice here on how to get started, how to keep organized about that. I talk about the warp and weft. The warp refers to stationary places in your game. By the way, I'm like really wearing out the tapestry metaphor here, but I figured why I'd just go for it at this point. Um, the some advice here on how to have a few places set up. A lot of this is trying to balance between my philosophy of not over the danger of over prepping is we now drop characters into a story that you fully prepared and is not about the characters at all. Where what I'm trying to do is set up a situation where there are several things, so you feel like you have some things for the characters to go and do, but they can easily be shaped around the characters once they fit into the world. So that's this bit talks about some important things to come up with about locations. And then the weft is some of the motivation behind those places, or people not related to any of your places. A who and a why um, can just help you jot down a handful of interesting NPCs that could come up based on the kind of characters the players have made. Let's see. Oh, what do we got over here? Oh, Mithrian, thank you so much for being here. Sorry if I missed you, but really appreciate you having you here. PBT games are such that you don't really need the bells and whistles of something like Roll. Well, yeah, that's kind of my feeling too, Erica. Whenever I played online, I just make I have a spreadsheet character keeper that I need to update to all the current rules. That's often I find that more convenient than anything else. But the tapestry metaphors are getting threadbare. Yes, Blue Troller, thank you. Atropos of Erica. That's very good. So we get into every Powered by the Apocalypse game wants to talk about the game runner's agenda and kind of their responsibilities, in which I state to overlay the mortal world with the magical, make their lives tangled and complicated, and play to see what happens, which is not new. That's been in every game since Apocalypse World. Play to see what happens. That is at the heart of me talking about not over planning. So there's some of this focusing on overlaying magical on top of the mortal. Tangling. The principles here are kind of further guidance on how to accomplish your agenda. Right? Injecting supernatural, show how the player characters are special, ask interesting questions, be a fan of the characters, question their motivations, right? Motivations and intentions, like Samantha blowing up that car like a Hollywood stunt was all about, the fabric of the world is based on one's expectations. And that can be an important question to ask in the right moment. Make sure to describe the stakes, confirm a choice, right? If a player is saying, okay, well, I want to go do X, and you, the herald, are like, you'll definitely get killed if you do that, just tell them that. Because maybe they don't understand, or they do understand and they're saying, I'm going to take my chances and deal with my death move. Like, this is what I want to have happen. Like, okay, then that's fine. You just don't want to be in a gotcha moment. That sucks. That's all I have to say about that. Don't do it. And then Herald moves. There are a bunch of moves you can take. It doesn't have to be just on a 6-. It's all explained here. Talk about how to craft custom moves. Love letters are just an expansion of custom moves, but they're so important I gave them their own section. This was something I was a big fan of when I learned more about PBTA games. Adam West is another one who taught me a lot about what love letters can do and how they should work in games. And so a lot of this is based on his input and some of his examples, actually. So like he wrote up kind of a template of a bunch of these, and I then kind of edited them into how I wanted it to look. Faded to make these puns. We should weave it a wone. That's good. I know the best people. Yeah, Kurt Potts, this is absolutely gorgeous, all of this. 234 The Wolf. Do we have a release date set up? I didn't get a chance to back the Kickstarter, and frankly wouldn't, because I've seen a similar project that was used to get the money and then dropped. Can't wait to play this game. Yeah, I understand, actually, and to expand on that, I won't use Kickstarter again either. I'm not a fan of the format, and that's a whole other topic. This project is not dropped. It's here. We're just wrapping it up. But I am really hoping if we can get the editing and the indexing done and it's just a couple of final steps. So like October, November is pretty realistic for the PDF to be done, upload it to drive through. I want to make sure all of my Kickstarter backers get it, and then I will open it up for general purchase on drive through RPG. But yeah, end of the year really is pretty realistic for the PDF, right? I shipping stuff, hard copy books, I cannot make any promises. I have no idea how that's going to go. Everything's a huge mess right now. And that's not my fault and not something I have control over. So, but as far as the game being available for purchase, it really should be the next couple months. That's a realistic timeline. So, I'm so ready for it to be done as well. I still love this game. I really do. But I'm also ready for it to be out the door and in the world. The work you put in to communicate with your backers, you were still dedicated to this project. It was really nice to see. Can't wait for it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. 234 the Wolf. Can I just call you Wolf? But that's nice of you to say. There have been folks who really implied some real shittiness on my part, and that I took the money and ran. Like, I'm right here. I stream every week. You can find me. Like, I haven't gone anywhere. But as far as for playing the game, Wolf, do you have the quick start guide? Because that's available. It's playable. Work for Pinnacle on Savage World stuff. Oh yeah, shipping is a real fustercluck. Erica, I do not envy your job. I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that. Y'all, look at Kurt's layout with this. We got a letter. We got the Celestial. We have the breakdown of the mechanical aspects of what the Celestial is supposed to do with their love letter. And then we have another one here, the Reaper, and the die roll associated with that, the Warrior. Normally you would say dear character name, right? I did it this way because, I wanted it to be clear that this letter is tailored to that character, and a big part of being that character is their playbook. So I just wanted it to represent the idea that love letters aren't generic. It's not like there is a generic time passes move, right? That's not what this is. This is, we need to advance something in this character's personal storyline, and here's how we're doing it. It's cool shit. We have a bestiary here. And again, this is not a huge list of every mythological creature that has ever existed. This is a template of what most mythological creatures can fit into. So we have couple spots here that we're finishing up, but creatures from the deep, right? We've got these undersea creatures. We have things that these often have in kind. You will use some or all of this, or none of it, and springboard into a different idea. But here's an idea for creatures from the deep, living natural disasters, kind of your Godzilla, just absolute monster situation. These are all Minerva's art pieces as well. Mythic beasts, right? We have bloodthirsty unicorns over here. We got shape changers, right? Things that are, and we try to make this, like, this could apply to a lot of different types of mythic beasts, right? Shape changers, werewolves, and all kinds of stuff, right? This could be lots of different things. Mermaids. Is it bestiary or bestiary? I kind of typically go with bestiary because it's a single. English is such a fucking mess, but this is why I do it. I'm not saying it's right. Um, the short E sound for me because there's a double consonant after it, like the word best. Um, what I saw was a Kickstarter where the updates suddenly stopped and then dropped, and yeah, I've seen those as well. I never wanted anyone to think that that's what was happening here. So thanks for believing in me. Supernatural minions, just absolute menaces. We love them. Look at this horrifying goblin thing. Minerva did this. This is terrifying. Behold, Mechana Mouse. Talked about swarms. Oh, thank you for that follow, Wolf. Tricksy spirits. Unalive pests. I like that. Because this covers like vampires and zombies and like some things that were never alive in the first place, just that kind of stuff. Ghosts. This is so scary. I find ghosts absolutely terrifying. That's like X card material for me, but I love this art so much. I was like, well, this is the one I have to put in there. Oh well. So that's the bestiary is a setup of how to create any creature that you want and put it in your game. That's the goal of it. So there's a lot of guidance here, a lot of good ideas. Not a laundry list of every creature in the world. That's what some people wanted, and it's just not what I never intended to give that. So that is oh yeah, and now we have the scenarios. So the scenarios for people who were in the Kickstarter in the beginning, one of our stretch goals was to bring in guest writers to write adventure plugs, like starters for an adventure that we call scenarios. And also here at the start of the chapter is like how to design your scenario or how I designed the scenarios, and you can design your own if you want. And then we jump right into first guest author. I think I have to swap these around because I was going to alphabetize them, but whatever the final order is, it's awesome. Camden Wright is well known in the RPG community. You should definitely check out his stuff. Wrote a really cool story here. These I am going to scroll by a little bit because this is the good stuff that you're going to have to get the book. I mean, you're going to get the book anyway. I know. But the structure here, we talk about whether your group is maybe more into investigation versus fighting, and how to tailor the adventure to their experience. I think I'm opposite of Jason. I like ghosts. My favorite unalive pest when I played Monster Hearts. There was no other choice but to play. Yeah. Although, Erica, I've come a long ways. We have guests, ghosts, unalive guests in the Saturday game on Happy Jacks, our Fantasy Pirates game. I have intentionally included ghosts, and I'm doing better with it. I'm trying to do a little minimal exposure therapy in the safe space that I know is Happy Jacks. So it's been good. Here, this is our own Jay Holtham, if you know, also from Happy Jacks, and just Twitter in general, is a TV writer and wrote an adventure for my game. This is great. Sam Saltiel is also known in the RPG community. Oh, thank you, Eli. That's kind of you. Christopher Gray, the author I mentioned earlier of several RPGs in our local community here. Mm-hmm. Samantha Terry. Also, this one is very weird. If you can imagine, if you know Samantha, and what she has brought to various Happy Jacks campaigns. She was very excited to write this, and you can see we're already talking about Cthulhu-esque, chthonic uh, uh, um, dangers. So that's good times. We have Alistair Goodsman did this one based on there was I didn't know this. I had to look into this. Alistair is from Mexico City. And in Mexico City, there was not a huge parade for Dia de los Muertos or Dia de Muertos. Um, these are in his own words, but I researched this. The 2015 James Bond film Spectre that had the Dia de Muertos parade sparked the desire in the city to have a big parade. It's this sort of like weird snake eating its own tail of cultural appropriation, and but also like circling back to people claiming their own culture and taking it back, and that was it's a really cool adventure story that Alistair added in here for us. Panic at the Museums by Danny Delisle. It's good stuff. And then my own contribution called No Spoilers. So this one's mine. And I think we have reached the end of previewable copy.